Hello, y'all. Brett.
I don't know.
Yes, that's Cindy. If you
Hi,
don't know,
maybe. Who knows?
it's a beautiful afternoon. We thought we'd sit outside.
So ignore all the noise, because every time we try to do something on the porch, everybody in the world comes by.
Everything's, everybody and everything's moving right now. It's so
Not
pretty.
the birds are howling.
A lot of birds lately, but
Yep.
we done with these. I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, and it was so sporadic and so messed up. I told her, I said, I can't edit that. There's no way I can make a video out of that.
Had too many rabbit trails, huh?
It had too many rabbit trails. We're gonna try to stick to some kind of subject.
Oh,
It might be a
and
subject, but
we're
not a
gonna
subject. But
kick it off with the pretty fall colors.
it is beautiful.
Oh, we're going to have to do a video. Hopefully we can get it done before they all fall off the tree. Driving home from church today, the colors of the trees were just so beautiful. It was just,
All the different colors shining right now.
that is one thing I value so much about living in the country. When you look out, all you see is beautiful colors.
We got a yard full of trees too. So.
Yeah, but our trees ain't as pretty. It's pretty, but when you're driving and you're driving in your country time, and all you see in the distance the hills and stuff, and they're just all different colors. You know, you got some red and yellow and green, and you still got the evergreens, and they just all blending in.
And a lot of our roads,
Beautiful.
the trees still hang over. They're not cut back. They don't have huge right of ways, except where they've added on or remodeled. They've got huge right of ways, but I got a feeling they won't stay that way. They're already not cutting it all, so
Oh, it's
it'll
just
be
like
back normal for in a few more years.
today, a little kid asked about how you, uh, how can you see God or something like that. And we was telling her the best way is just to look at the things He's created. And we just driving home and all those pretty colors and just like, there's not an artist alive who can paint a prettier scene than God can.
Nope.
They're just it's so fascinating. They change color, and you don't know what color they're going to change unless you're one of those people that knows what the trees are. I'm not one of them peoples. But it's so fascinating. You know, they're all green, so you don't know one from the other from a distance until they start changing their colors. And then when they start changing their colors, you get to see what kind of tree they really are. Almost like people's, you know? Just saying. We all sometimes can look the same till we start opening our mouth and talking. Then we don't also look the same.
Make this more fun. Why don't you leave us a comment and tell us about your weather? We've been getting mid to upper 80s during the day and 40s at night. Next day be upper 70s maybe.
And then you have the
And almost 30
sporadic
at night.
50 degrees the other day. It was only, I think the highest I saw it get was 57 degrees. Out of the blue, just one day, whoop, 57. Here you go. Here's some cold weather for you.
Just leave us a comment. Tell us about your weather. It's so crazy here. The trees have already lost their leaves, and several of them budded back out, put new leaves on. I even got an apple tree that's got blooms on it. It has rebloomed. Because they don't have a clue what season we're in.
My rose bushes have done the same thing.
Rose bushes has come back out. Strawberries has come back out. I've been eating
Yep.
strawberries.
Tomato plants are putting tomatoes back on it.
Well, that's intentional, but
Yeah, but I mean, there for a few days, weeks, about a week or so there, you couldn't hardly get a tomato off of them. Now, you brought 3 or 4 in the other day.
ground temperature's got cooler. That's what makes your garden work is ground temperature. It can be 100 outside. If the ground's cool enough, they'll keep building and keep making fruit. When the ground gets hot, it don't matter what the outside temperature is, they're going to start failing.
I just thought the
They're
other
cooking in
day,
the ground.
time to turn them things over. They're done. He comes in the house with about 6 or 7 tomatoes in his hand. I was, well, I guess they ain't done after all.
I've made that a habit every year to make sure I keep my tomatoes around because I know they'll make a comeback. Not all of them will. Some of them will. Not every one of them. We had 125, 135 plants.
Mm-hmm.
There's maybe 15 or 20 out there now. But the strongest ones come back. I cut the other ones down. If they wasn't doing anything or wouldn't act like they was gonna make it, took a weed beater to them and cut them down. Well, we get enough tomatoes for me anyway.
Yeah.
I could share one here and there, but they're not real big tomatoes. And they're not pretty. But I've got some good sized ones coming.
They pretty good. They eat.
Still got pepper. I picked a big bowl full of jalapenos and bell pepper. Big jalapenos.
Big jalapenos. Those
Okay.
will make some good stuffed jalapenos.
Okay, some of my brother-in-law, I guess we'll sack these up for the volunteer fire department. Some of them. Most of them. I got about 100 put up in the refrigerator or in the freezer for stuffing.
You put your.
I'm gonna put a few up sliced for myself, but we've had them all summer, so it ain't like we've been doing without a pepper.
You put up your stuffed jalapenos. You put the stuffing already in it. All you got to do now is wrap the bacon around and bake them.
I've got some that's stuffed in with bacon wrapped around froze. So all I gotta do is bake them.
Yep.
I just didn't have enough of the bacon to wrap all them.
You made some more bacon since then. You can use some of your good bacon on some of it.
I go by the greasy stuff going there.
I don't like them.
That's what cooks the
But he
the
likes
pepper
them.
is the grease. The grease cooks the pepper. It gets down inside it, gets under it.
Well, you can't
Puts that
use
pepper
yours
down.
then because yours
Mine
don't have no grease.
My homemade bacon is pretty lean.
It's good stuff. You made some sausage the other day.
I made 100 and something patties of sausage. I forgot how many pounds that was.
I don't know, but it's good
A lot of
stuff.
sausage.
Ain't that what you cooked us this morning?
What you had this morning was homemade country sausage.
That's good. He always makes good, but some batches he gets a little bit too much of something in it. Another batch you might not get enough. That and this morning was just flat good.
It's always good.
It's always good, but some of it is like
She's
I'm
very
not a
particular,
strong
too.
pepper person, and sometimes in some of his batches he gets a little too much pepper in it, and it goes from being a Cindy mild to a Brett mild. There's a little difference in our taste of mild and hot.
The difference is the kind of
I can-
pepper you buy. You buy the cheap Dollar General pepper, it don't really have much flavor. You buy a good name brand, it's a lot stronger, and it actually is more like pepper should be. I don't know what the Dollar General stuff is, but it's awful weak. You can pepper it black, and it ain't near as strong with just a few sprinkles of a name brand.
We liable to get caught. Grandbaby done went outside.
Uh-oh. Grandbaby's liable to be here shortly.
Oh.
Everything changes when the grandbaby comes over. The little toot loves everything I do, and he wants to be a part of it, which is a good thing.
Well,
But if you're dealing with something like hand tools or something that could hurt him, he wants to grab them and take over, even though he don't know what to do with them sometimes. He wants right in the middle of it. I have to watch what I do when he's around. Sometimes I have to stop certain jobs when he's around.
oh yeah, like we turned on the fireplace.
And
I've rearranged my living room where I can see my fireplace.
he can't be around when I work on the fireplace.
We have to do that when he ain't nowhere to be seen. Because Brett, when he was a little bitty feller, Brett got down there to turn, I guess it was his first winter. He was crawling around on the floor, and Pappy got down on the floor and started fiddling with it to turn it on. And of course, he climbed right up on the side of Brett. And then next thing that day I turned around, he's down there. Of course, it was off. Didn't have its blaze on. But he down there trying to fiddle with the fireplace. I looked at Brett and said, all right. He worked on the kitchen sink. Next time Lincoln was down there, and
next month
he was playing on it. For the next 2 or 3 months, every time he came over, he opened the cabinet door, crawled under the sink, took everything out, and started playing with the pipes of the sink. I looked at Brett and I said, you can't work on nothing in this house. A young'un thinks he should be able to do everything Pappy does.
I was talking at church with one of our sisters and telling her that Lincoln helped me plant peanuts. She was asking me about my peanuts, and I said, yeah. I said, for the most part, he helped me plant them. He went down the row for a little ways, and he'd go over to the next row and plant a peanut, and he'd go over to the opposite side and plant a peanut, or he might drop one in the middle. Samantha was trying to help him plant, and I was trying to keep him going. I told her, I said, we're just going to cover them up. When they grow, I'll take a shovel and move them. And that's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
When they came up high enough I could see them, I took a shovel and scooped the whole thing up, went over to the row where it was missing, and transplanted it. Made a good row of peanuts. But as far as he knew, he done a great job because he dropped peanuts, and we made peanuts. Hopefully we can teach him the right way. Over time, we're going to hopefully make a gardener out of him, and a mechanic out of him, and a carpenter out of him, and plumber, and everything else I get to do. You got any spotties?
I don't think that's our grandbaby.
I seen somebody else pull up over there. Our
I
son and
think
daughter
some-
lives next door to us, so we can see when they're out in the yard. And sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. Sometimes it's entertaining.
No, that's some of our son's friends.
Yeah.
That's their
Anyway.
baby. I'll say. Yeah, look, my daughter. I get sidetracked easily. Yeah.
We talked about gardening. Anybody got anything left in the garden, or they done the fall garden? Leave us a comment. That way we know what's going on. We can be interactive this way.
Turnips.
We don't do the live stream very often. She don't like the live stream, and
I can't handle it too well.
it's a
I got
There's a
people
lot
where
to
you
do.
can cut out my craziness. Now you can't do that on live stream.
yeah, we can't bleep out stuff.
All right, we got some turnip greens and turnips
And mustard greens.
and mustard greens.
I planted medium clover and crimson clover. And I planted for cover crop, ground cover. Especially the big garden, when we use it for so much, I try to plant something back to leave in the winter and let it grow and turn it under. I tried a little clover. Of course, mustard greens they grow on the flat rock if they can get a little moisture. Got some good turnips. I got my daddy some turnips the other day. I got to take some to work for a woman. But she don't know I'm bringing them, but she mentioned she'd like some. She's going to wind up with some turnips.
Big or all as you want.
I might have to go over and order in the morning and pull her some, but I don't eat that many of them. I just wanted them. I wanted a variety of things in the ground to see what growed the best. And this year all the greens is doing good. Last year I had trouble with one or the other. Something wouldn't grow, and one wouldn't grow, one would grow, or maybe they just hit better ground. But I always mix it up. That way I know I get something out of it. But several people like turnips, so we planted
Wow.
I don't know, 5-6 foot wide row of turnips.
You say several people like turnip, but that ain't me.
And she won't touch them. I can eat them. I'm not crazy about them. If that's all they was, I wouldn't go hungry because I could eat them. But I don't know if she would or not.
Well, if it come down to
She'd be
being
on a weight loss
hungry
program.
and eat them, I'd probably bear down and eat them.
You'd be on a weight loss program.
But I'd have to be pretty hungry because I never have cared. I think I tried them once.
Like turnip greens. You ain't going to get her to eat turnip greens or mustard greens or
I'm sorry.
poke salad or
I have a real problem with you going out in the yard, cutting the grass, bringing it in and boiling it and calling it dinner.
poke salad.
My grandmother did that. Oh my goodness. She went out in the yard. Now I get garden. Garden, yeah, I can handle that part of it. But she'd go out in the yard
I think it's about
and
that
with
stuff.
pair of scissors, cut up that, brought it back in, put it in the pot, and I'm like, Mama, we gotten so hungry we're eating grass now? And then she'd eat that stuff. Oh.
I think it's spotted them half a mile away.
She had a patch growed out behind her house, and she loved the stuff. I don't think she can eat it anymore. I don't think it loves her too much no more. But I was just like, Mama, we don't have to eat grass. You know, people don't hunt and grow gardens and do things like that no more. You know, there's people trying to get back to that. When we were kids, everybody hunt. Well, I don't know. Big cities, they don't. But in our town, and our friends and people we knew, everybody hunt. Everybody had chickens. Everybody had gardens. Everybody, I mean, you didn't go to the store much. Now, as I got older, you did. But when I was little bitty, we rarely went to the store. You went to the stores for those things you couldn't grow. Nowadays, everybody just goes to the store.
Until everybody found the Save-A-Lot stores. When one of them moved in, we started hitting that thing. We still grow the garden, we still hunted, but when Save-A-Lot first moved in, you could get a monster load of groceries once a month and not spend that much money. But
And you got busier too. You worked more. The hours went longer. You, instead of working 40 hours a week, you started having to work 50 and 60 hours a week. You know, I remember my mama used to come home early, and then there was times when my mama didn't get home much before dinner was served. Because, you know, she worked at the factory, and she'd work 10, 12 hours sometimes.
well, Save-A-Lot, I was talking about it. We didn't get one in our town. You had to drive.
They weren't no Dollar Generals in those days.
It was closest one by the time I remember driving to it was probably 20 miles away.
At
It's
least.
in the next county, the next town, county over. We
At
used to
least.
drive the 45 minutes one way to get to one of them. The groceries was dirt cheap there at that time. Everything was a third of the price, probably.
Well, I mean, you got married. We could take a few bucks and go to the store and buy everything we needed for the month.
Yeah, well, we weren't very good with money. We was very good at spending it, not very good at saving it. So yeah, we ate on a tiny budget.
That's
So
why
like
we
to have
don't.
fun.
That's why we don't eat ramen noodles now.
We can.
We neither
a
one
challenge.
wants to, because we used to go to the store and you get. Woo. Okay. Hello. We get the case of ramen noodles.
You can get
Woo. You get,
You get
10 or
10.
20 of them.
10 bags for $1 when we was married.
First married, yeah.
10 packs, in other words. And sometimes they go on sale and it was even cheaper.
You get
We ate
the
lots of ramen noodles.
when you got the 20 pack for $1.50 or something like that. Yeah, we ate lots of ramen noodles.
Hamburger helper.
Hamburger helper, oh yeah.
Hamburger was cheap back then. You could actually,
Yeah.
you could afford a hamburger. It wasn't the highest thing at the store.
I'll tell you,
Per
we're
pound.
going to date ourselves. But the brown bag special was what we did on our date. We would have our hot date was the brown bag special.
At Sonic.
It's Sonic. You got 2 burgers, 2 fries, 2 drinks for $5. Now I'm aging myself because we haven't been a $5. You can't even get the burger now for $5.
One burger cost more than 5.
But back then, when we thought we were having to spend a fortune back, but that was also, you know, when we started. I think my first paycheck, I only made like $2.50, $3 an hour, and now they're trying to make minimum wage $15 an hour, $20 an hour. My kids said, "I need $20 an hour." Me and Brett both looked at them and went, "Really?" When we started working, we worked for $2.50 an hour. But it wasn't my official job. But, you know, I grew up on Boy Scout camp, and so we had a little trading post there. Of course, you have to post, you know, minimum, you know, the rules, the laws, and stuff like that. But I can remember minimum wage was like $2.50 on that poster. Then it went to $3. Then it was $3.50, and then it was $3.75. Then it was $4.25 forever.
I've been through something the first job. Been a
Yeah.
while.
But I mean, like I said, I grew up there. It wasn't my first official job. I guess it was $3.50 when I was officially paid, or $4.25, something like that.
It was around 3 the first time because
You know, it was 3 something.
88, 89.
Gas was only like
I drove myself to work at 14.
a little illegal and stuff, but yeah, nobody
They
paid no
handed me the
attention back
keys
then.
and you know how to drive. You're big enough to look like an adult. Just sit back in the seat and be careful and go to work. I did. I drove 7 or 8 miles one way to work.
You know, me and you
As
both.
a 14-year-old.
You know, me and you both. Now
Never got caught, never had a word said.
Our grandbaby, we throw a fit over. I throw a fit sometimes over some of the stuff that we let our grandbaby do. Me and you did all the time.
Mm-hmm.
How in the world our parents and grandparents survived our childhood? I don't know. I told my mama that not too long ago. I said, how in the world did you raise 3 of us? I about pulled my hair out looking over my tube. And now I got a grandbaby.
I think that's the reason why my daddy liked for me to stay gone. I'd leave out in the mornings when there wasn't no school, and we'd go to the woods and play all day, or out in the field, or it was like, get up, the sun's up, go outside, do something. We'd run back through about lunchtime or a little later and get something to drink, and we'd be gone to supper time. My mom would call me for supper. She knew I'd be somewhere in the neighborhood. She'd go to yelling.
In my house, it was you had to be an earshot of the truck horn, because Daddy only honked it once. You didn't make him honk it a second time.
Well, you knew at dark there was food on the table. By dark,
You
was
had
late.
to be in the house by dark.
If it was dark, he was late.
Yep. Sun going down, you gotta come in the house. And if we had to go somewhere, Daddy'd honk the horn. And he'd always tell us, don't make me honk it twice. You won't like it if I have to honk it twice. No, you didn't like it because you got in trouble if Daddy had to honk the horn. Why? But we had this big old, campground to run all over, you know.
You had many acres to run around, and there was nobody up there.
No. Only rule was we were not allowed to go over the river.
He was over a mile away from a neighbor.
You know, Daddy didn't want us to go down to the river. Now, if he caught us going down to the river, we got in trouble. But as long as we stayed away from the river, we played in the campsites, run up on the hillside.
I had neighbors.
Played everywhere.
I lived around several houses, and I could cross my yard and step over the property line, and I was in a field. I could go to the end of the field, and I could hit the edge of a wooded lot. Basically, there was another field, and I went into the woods. I could stay out all day. I mean, there was fields all the way around the little place where we lived, just a few houses in there. There's fields on 3 sides of it, so technically 4 sides if you want. There was one across the road that almost pinned us all in fields, but
it was a different time.
It was a different world.
Different world. Yeah, sometimes I think about the things that we have seen in our lifetime.
Just thinking.
We're pushing hard on 50.
What would
the next 50 years look like?
How would people react now if they seen 2 or 3 of us rugrats like we was back in, toting survival knives on their side, machetes and BB guns?
We'd be arrested. What you and I wore on our hips on a daily basis when we were kids would get us put in jail now.
I got in trouble for starting a few fires for that survival knife.
Me too. You know, they came with the matches and the little saws, everything you need.
Mm-hmm.
Well, of course you had to build a little fire. It's just rite of passage, was it not? And you see, I grew up on a Boy Scout camp. We started those, what do you call them things where you strike it in arcs and it builds a fire? You know, little striker thingies.
I can't think.
Well, of course, we sold those. Well, guess who got one? Me and my brother, we'd sit out in the backyard. We'd have Boy Scouts come down there, and they'd be like, we're teaching them how to build a fire. You want us to do it? My daddy's like, no, you're not. I'm like, we'll do it. Me and Brian were like, we'll do it. I'll show you how to use these things. There you go. But now, if you do something like that, you get arrested for some of the stuff we did today. For sure. But you know,
I'm going to plead the fifth on that, because there was no cameras, no cell phones. Back then, you can't prove I did anything.
I was going to say...
The memories has been erased.
I was going to say...
We're getting old, we can't remember none of that
But
stuff.
you know, that was something we was talking about the other day.
I was a good child. Nobody proved any different.
That was what we was talking about the other day. In our day, if you wanted to destroy somebody's reputation, it took work. And most people didn't want to put the work into it to do it. Today, you don't have to do nothing, and they can destroy your reputation just because they decided they didn't like you.
A couple minutes on Facebook or TikTok or...
Yeah. 10 seconds with a cell phone and you could destroy somebody's reputation, and you don't even have to know who they are.
Thank goodness there wasn't cell phones back then.
They cell phones back then, we'd be in jail, I guess.
Like I said, there's no proof. Thank goodness.
No. Can't prove we did it. And of course, the stories get better as you get older. You know, the memory kind of changes and adapts. But you know,
For as our children know, we never done anything really bad.
I was honest with my children when they asked me questions.
And they got to ask the right questions to get the right information. Like I said, they don't know everything.
I answered
We
all
didn't
the
give them
questions.
no ideas.
I answered their questions as honest as I could.
They think pretty good on their own. They don't need no help.
But I mean, it's still, people get mad over the least little thing now. I guess we had thick skin back then. It just didn't. People are easily offended. Back when we was kids, I'm offended. Well, get unoffended then, I guess. You know.
It all happened the same way back then as it did now, but there wasn't no social media to tell everybody about it.
True.
There wasn't no videos or anything to show everybody what happened. You had to go on each other's word. Everybody would take one side or the other, and there was conflict, but drama. But eventually, I hope it all goes away.
Everybody eventually.
We try to grow out of that, you know.
But you know, just because it's the way it's always done, don't mean it's the way it should be done.
I know I gotta chop this thing all to pieces. Well, the sun's going down. I think it's about time to wind this down. We don't make the video too long. We're gonna sit here and talk for a while, but we thought we'd just include people. Leave us a comment, tell us what you think. Tell us about your childhood or whatever. That way we know somebody's hearing our message here. Listen to us talk.
Because it might have been different than where they grew up.
It probably would be different.
You know, we are in a small town America.
Yeah. We was raised in a small area, so small town. Everybody knew everybody, kind of thing. Couldn't get away with nothing when you was a kid. All your neighbors knew what you was doing, who you belonged to, what you supposed to been doing before you did.
And have permission from your mom and daddy to straighten you out if you misbehaved,
Yeah. I hope everybody has a good week. We're gonna wind this thing down. Have a good week. God bless.